here, and welcome to a new edition of Books and Cookies Book Talk. In today's video, I will be talking to you guys about why I love rereading books. I just looked around for a bit and realized that probably around half of the books that I have read this year have been rereads for me, and that is kind of mind-boggling. Because let's face it, most of us are, well, obsessed is kind of a harsh word, but I'm gonna use it. So most of us are obsessed with reading as many new books as we can. And while that's a very legitimate concern, because the saying so many books, so little time is the realest shit out there that anyone has ever said. Sometimes it's fun to just take a break, take a breather, and reread some of the books that you have loved before. I absolutely adore revisiting the book worlds that I loved, the book universes that I loved, especially if it's a longer series. Rereading books is so easy because you're already familiar with the surroundings, you already love the characters. You don't waste that time that you waste usually with a new book trying to get into it, acquainted with the world, with the characters. You already have that part done. So you can just skip to the part where you reread your favorite quotes and relive your favorite moments. And that's something that I think more of us should treasure and should re-experience. No, it's not the same thing as experiencing a favorite book for the first time again, but it can come very close to that feeling. Personally, rereading books is the best way to get out of a reading slump. Usually when I'm in a reading slump, I cannot get into anything. Even if I try different genres and authors, it's always very, very difficult for me to get into them. But going back to a book that I know for a fact that I have loved, that I know for a fact that I will love once I reread it, get me out of the slump like this. So I just pick up a book that I love and I find myself finishing it after a day, and then getting back into that feeling of wanting to read new books. So rereading can be a kick-ass way to get out of a slump. When I reread a book, I get to take my time with it. Usually when I read new books, I am in such a rush to find out what's happening, to find out where the story is going. When I'm rereading something, I already know all these things. So I can take my time with it and find out the little things, notice, the references, words and quotes that have gone over my head the first time because I was in such a rush. I can get to know the characters better, I can get to know the world better, and it's overall a very, very pleasant experience. Rereading books is also a good way to find out just how much you've changed in time, especially if a larger period of time passes between the moment when you first read the book and the moment when you're rereading it. You read a book in high school or younger and you reread it when you are like 25, 30. It can have a very different impact on you and you can get to have a very different experience because once you change, the way that you perceive these books changes as well. So it's like reading a new book. Reading books for me honestly just feels like catching up with old friends. It's like, oh my god, remember how awesome this character was, or oh my god, remember what happened here and how pumped up I was. You develop such wonderful relationship with these characters. They're so close to your heart, and when you get to experience their adventures again, it's like just like Also, something that's very important, because we bookworms are fragile creatures and we get wounded emotionally very easily. When you reread a book, you don't get sucker punched like it happens the first time when you read that book. You already know the thing is coming. And while sometimes I actually found it harder to reread a book especially because I knew that something horrible was gonna happen. You get to prepare yourself emotionally, spiritually. Like you know that it's coming. You get to, face it head first, and sometimes that helps. Probably the most important things when you reread books, for me at least, is that it's comfortable. I find comfort in rereading books that I love. When it's a sucky time in my life and I'm not sure that if the next book that I'm picking up will be the best for me in that moment, it helps a lot knowing that there are books out there that I can revisit and that those books can offer me comfort. And a more practical reason why I reread books is that I can't always afford new releases, which is you know, it's not that fun not being able to experience a new book the second that it comes out, but rereading books is a fun alternative. I don't have access to a library. I only read in English, and the libraries here in Romania are, you know, they have books in English, but they're mostly classic, and they don't cater to my needs, so like my young adult needs and my new releases needs. Unfortunately, the library option isn't one for me, but I have all these amazing books on my shelf that I can reread anytime. You reread books for a couple of months, you can put some cash together and eventually get the books that you've been eyeing. And that's an alternative that many people don't really use, because it's the same idea that we have in our heads. So many books, so little time. Why should I waste my time rereading books? Well, I just told you why you should not waste your time but value it and value the books on your shelf. So guys, get rereading more. I want to see more people reread books. I feel like I'm so alone with this. These are the reasons why I reread books. I'd love for you guys to tell me in the comments below if you reread books, what made you reread books. You know how much I love talking to you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time with a new video. Remember, books for the soul, cookies for the tongue. Bye everyone!